What you're about to watch is an interview I did with one of my clients, Hunter. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying Hunter is not the usual kind of client that I would work with. The majority of the clients that I work with are people that already have the skills to coach, and all they need my help to do is package that into an offer they can sell, go get clients, scale their coaching business to 25 grand a month, and then after that, grow to 7 figures. That's the typical kind of client that I work with, and that's what I help people do. But Hunter called me, and we'd known each other for maybe a year at that point. Not well, but just over the internet. So he called me while I was out skiing, and I answered because I was like, oh, that's weird. Hunter's calling me, and he was like, hey, dude, I see the stuff you're doing online. I don't have the skills to coach. I'm starting from zero. I don't know what coaching is. I don't know what this whole thing is. Can you help me? And I was like, well, I'm not gonna lie. You're probably gonna need a little bit more support than a typical client would get because you're not my usual client. But I decided to do it anyways, and he decided to jump on board. So we start working together. And if you don't have the skills to coach, the first thing you have to do is go get the skills to coach. And so one of the best ways to do that, and what I've done before in my business, is start doing the thing, whatever it is, like whatever outcome you want to get your clients, start just doing it by doing it for them. And then eventually you'll learn this stuff by doing it for them. You can get paid to learn, and then you can eventually start doing it with them or coaching them basically. And so that's what he did. And he managed to go from zero, no knowledge, nothing. Like he talks about in the interview you're about to watch, like he didn't know anything about the coaching or marketing agency space, to he came to our Washington Collective event. I host events for clients in person. We hang out. It's awesome. He came to that event. I think something changed when he was at that event and his mindset. As soon as he left the event, and within 30 days, grew his business to over $10,000 a month in recurring revenue, maybe $12,000 a month, and sold his first ever, I think it was like $5,800 paid in full first coaching program. And so I brought him on to just talk about his journey for people that maybe don't have the skills to coach quite yet, or you're wondering if you do, or you're just trying to get over that edge. He's going to be a perfect example of someone that you could look up to and follow his journey. So anyways, hope you enjoy the interview. Hunter's an awesome dude. See ya inside. Hunter! What's up, my man? Good to have you here. You glad to be here or what? I'm happy for you.
Dude, I'm so pumped to be here. This was kind of like always my goal, was to be able to be on a call like this, like seeing all the interviews that you're doing. I'm like, yeah, bro, one day.
Yes, sir. I love it. Dude, we actually go way back in my TikTok days of making videos for my marketing agency like 3 years ago. We connected then. You were running a shipping company or a seafood fish shipping company? Am I tripping?
Dude, I had a seafood shipping company when I was like a teenager. But when I saw you, I was doing TikTok videos about like credit cards and personal finance.
Yes, I remember that. Okay, cool. And so I think I had reached out to you and I was like, hey dude, you're not selling like any sort of coaching or course about this. Like, why not? And I think that was how we originally, got connected, was I was like, dude, you should be selling something, right?
Yeah, it was so funny because I was on TikTok and it was like my first day and I was like trying to figure out how to do well, make good videos and make really cool looking videos. And I was on my For You page and then I saw one of your videos and it was when you had like the light in the back and it was like the subtitles and everything looked super
No one had subtitles, bro. Nobody.
Nobody was doing that, bro.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's the guy. And I saw your videos. You had like 5,000 followers or something. Yeah. And I had 0. And I started and I was making videos and I hit like 6,000, 7,000 followers. And then I went to your page and it said follow back. Like you found me. And I'm like, this is the sickest thing ever. So I messaged you and I'm like, dude, we should chat. And then we jumped on a call after that.
I love it, bro. I love it. Okay, cool. So we chatted a long time ago, but then I was skiing. My wife and I go like skiing with her family. The day after Christmas, we ski for like a full week or whatever. It's like the 26th to the January 1st. And I was skiing and I got a call from you because we had connected via like my actual phone number like a year or maybe longer previously. And you were like, hey dude, I see what you're doing. I'm in college. I have absolutely zero experience. I don't even really know what you do, but if you can help me, I'm in. And I think that's where we started, right?
Dude, yeah, I was in I was in a place in my life that I was just ready to make a change. And I was in college and I'm like, I just want to make a change. Like I was making some money, but I wanted to make more and I wanted something with like no glass ceiling. And I kept seeing everything on Instagram you were posting and all these people having success that really didn't know what they were doing at the beginning. And I'm like, man, like I don't know at all, like no clue what you're doing, what you do, nothing. And I just sent you a message or something. We jumped on a call and you're like, hey, want to talk? And I'm like, sure. And I had no idea what you were saying, bro. You were saying all this stuff and it all sounded like good to me. I just didn't know, but I had talked to you a year before, like I already trusted you. So you just kind of like went from there.
Yeah, cool. So I would say like you're definitely not like a typical client that I would work with, but we had been chatting for so long and I was like, I think I told you like, hey dude, you're probably not my typical client. Like I serve coaches, like I help people start and scale coaching businesses. But I do know that you have skills in video. I've seen your credit card videos. Like I know you have video skills. We just have to create an offer around the skills that you have, whether it's a coaching offer or a consulting offer, a done for you offer. We have to create some sort of offer on the skills you have. And maybe at the time, you know, looking back, you were like, dude, I don't know what that means, but I'm in. And so paid that day. We started working together. That was like January 1st, 2024. And then you had finished college. And so you basically just decided, you know what, I'm going to learn for the next like 3-4 months, whatever. I'm not actually going to implement anything yet, but I'm just going to learn. And you made that decision. You were like, hey, dude, I'm actually not going to do it, which I think is like looking back, a wise decision. Like you finished college first, and then you were like, I'm just strictly going to learn, and then I'm going to go all in. Is that what you were thinking at the time?
Yeah, I was just so busy. Like I was taking 20 credits and like full time in college and I was so busy, but I knew I was like, what am I going to do when I graduate? Like I'm going to graduate. I don't want to get a 9-to-5 job. And I'm like, the only way out of that is to start doing something earlier, right? Like at least learning something earlier. And so I'm like, yeah, let me just I said, if you really spend the time to learn something from somebody who really knows like you, then I'm like, I'm going to learn it enough. So I just like, let me put my head down for the next 16 weeks. Let me learn it really well while I'm in school, take it maybe as like an extra 4-credit class and but really pay attention. And then if I learn it, then I can implement it right when I graduate and just go all in.
Which is not typical. I mean, this is not usually how I work with a client, right? Most of them are like learning, implementing, right? You were like, I'm going to learn and then I'm going to do. So you learned a lot. And really what you got clear on during that like time period, I don't know how long it was just like, who do I want to serve and what do I want to offer? Like, I think that's what you got somewhat clarity on. Then you graduate. We host an event in Washington State. That's where I live, is Washington State. We host an event there. Probably 15 dudes come to Washington to hang out for the weekend. We rent like an Airbnb. Super fun. We do some trainings. We go play volleyball on the beach, all that kind of stuff. And we're at the event. And I think I said something that clicked in your brain. I don't remember what I said. I want to hear from you. What changed at the event? Because right afterwards, in like a 30-day period in the Slack community, it's like Hunter closed a $7,800 PIF. Hunter closed a $5,400. Hunter closed a $3,500. Hunter's closing deals. So I want to know, from your perspective, what changed, what clicked. I want to know the full story.
Yeah, so I'm totally the type of person to be like, oh yeah, you're having an event, like let's do it. So I just go and I like to travel. I went to the event and for me, like obviously it was so cool meeting everybody, networking. That was probably one of the best parts, really meeting you in person after listening to you for like months, knowing you for like almost maybe a 1.5 to 2 years, but never meeting in person. And that physical connection really changes a lot because it allows you to kind of like really sit down and kind of try to find that aha moment, like something that's going to click or something that's going to change your perspective. And throughout that time that I learned everything, it was like now time that I was like, okay, I graduated, now I have to implement, right? And so I started implementing as soon as I graduated school. But of course, things don't happen overnight. So I was implementing, trying to figure stuff out, kind of like doing, failing. That's the only way you learn. And then when I went to the event, I remember I was sitting on the couch and I was with all you guys and you were talking and I'm like, and we were talking about like goals and we were talking about different things. And I'm like, man, like, I don't know why this came up to me at the time, but I'm like, why not? I had like right before the event, I got a client and I was doing something for them, working with them in person because they were local to me. And I was like, why don't I just do what I'm doing for them, but for more people, right? Like why reinvent the wheel and try to coach people in other places if I already got really good at helping somebody in person? Like I might as well just maximize something local. And it wasn't originally ever a thought, but I was just sitting there and I'm like, what about this? So then I just said to Grayson, like I said to you, while we were with everyone, I'm like, what about if I just like did local? And you're like, yeah, you should 100% do that. And we talked about what I already had done, like with a client, and then how I could just do the same thing for them, but for multiple clients and scale it on like a monthly retainer basis. And I'm like, man, this is like, to me, something I already know really well, I'm already doing. And it's one of the fastest ways I can really stack monthly recurring revenue. So it just like clicked to me. It was like so random. It was just, but it was so obvious. And I feel like it wouldn't have come to me unless I was like there in person.
Yeah. So then something clicks, and I mostly help coaches. And so I know at the time you were like, hey, I feel like I know enough now after working with this client about like how mortgage brokers get clients and how like most of them suck at social media. You're good at social media. You know how Instagram works and all that stuff. And so you were like, hey, I could coach them, or I could work with them locally and like help them do video and stuff. And so you were trying to figure out like, what's the offer going to be at the time. And I think you were like, all right, Grayson says like, you got to go all in on one offer. You can't go all in on coaching and all in on a local offer at the same time. And so I was like, dude, you got to pick one though, right? Like if you're going to go all in, they both will 100% work, but you got to go all in on one. And I think before you coach, you wanted to get more skills and experience. So I was like, cool, sweet, go all in on it. And so then you went home. I don't know if you're like writing up the game plan of the plane ride home, and you go home, and literally probably like 3 out of 7 days of the week, I just got like win messages with like you signing up clients. How did that work? And are you spending money on ads to do that? Like, tell me, like, how did you get these clients?
Yep. So as soon as I went home, I was like, my brain wouldn't stop. I was like, man, this feels like an epiphany. I'm like, I finally figured out what I'm going to do, right? Because I was confused. I was like, I'm not sure if I should go in this direction or this direction. You really cleared that up for me. And you're like, dude, just pick one, go all in on it, like you said. And so I was on the way back and I was thinking about everything. And I'm like, the only way to get this rolling is to like launch ads immediately. Like I need to start finding people locally. I can't just like start talking to people. I want to really start finding people. So what I did is I made like an extremely direct offer as an ad. So I just made an ad that I spoke to the camera and I just said, hey, if you are in the real estate business and you're here in California or wherever, I just said my local area, if you're here and you want to build your social media, but you have no idea how to do it and you're not sure what to do, then I'll just do it completely for you. It was like a done for you offer, but I stated the entire thing in the ad and I spoke directly to what their pain could be. Like, for example, the first thing I'll do is I'll script your videos. The second thing I'll do is I'll record all your videos in one day for the whole month's worth of content. And the third thing I'll do is I'll edit everything. If you're interested,
you just stated the entire offer, direct offer. I think I just gave you like, here's the direct offer script. Call out niche, say what you're going to do, call to action, boom, done. You launch the ads. I think you had told me you spent like $150 or something, and you close like you're like, oh, my ROAS is like 20 or something like that. Well, what did you spend?
I spent like $250. I was spending $50 a day on my ads. I spent $250 after like 5 days, and I'm like, this isn't working. I'm not getting any messages, whatever. And then all of a sudden I get a message. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I just booked everyone in person. Like I didn't even know what I was doing. I'm like, oh, let me meet you at Starbucks. Like, let's meet. So I just met them at Starbucks. I met this guy, the first guy I met at Starbucks. I'm like, I walk him through kind of like the exact same sales framework you use, but just in person. And I just walked him through it. And I'm like, all right, here's the price. And he's like, okay, good. And then just paid me. And it was like, I think it was like $3,500. And it was on a monthly retainer. So like an unknown lifetime value. That could be like 400 grand lifetime value. And I literally just 3,500 on $250 in ad spend. So it was like a 12x ROAS. And I was like, oh man, actually this does work, because all I needed was one good DM and I just met with them.
Yeah. And I want to touch on a couple things here. One, I want to touch on the principles of what worked, because for most people watching this are going to be coaches. It's going to be people that are selling information. And we can actually get to the story of like you actually sold high ticket coaching, which is really cool. Like in addition to this offer. And you kind of said like, hey, eventually I do want to get back into coaching, but right now I'm going to focus on this. Most of the people watching this are probably coaches. That's like primarily who follows me, right? I want to touch on the principles of what worked here, because it wasn't necessarily just like, oh yeah, like the video offer is what worked, and this specific ad creative is what worked, and the fact that I met him in person is what worked. Like, let's talk, the principles of what worked here is that you ran an ad to get attention of the people that you know you could help, right? You created an offer that you knew that they wanted. It was a problem that you were solving in the marketplace because you solved it for somebody else before, right? And then you simply got in front of them. You stimulated some response. They responded with a DM, and they said, hey, I have this problem too. Do you think you could help me? You built trust by getting on the call with them. You explained and you pitched and you walked through our sales process, and they signed up. It's the same process that is used over and over and over and over again, and you now know the principles. What has changed? Like, I know it's really hard sometimes to think about how you thought previously when your beliefs shift, and often you don't even notice when you believe shift. You're like, oh, I just think this way now, so this is how I've always thought, but that's not true, right? What beliefs have shifted in your head, and what like principles do you now maybe operate off of that have changed from when before maybe you and I had started working together, before you were exposed to this whole like online business space?
Totally. So a couple things. There's no way I would have thought, honestly, I didn't think I could charge people. This is probably the most common. I didn't think I could charge people $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month for meeting with them once or twice a month. Like, I literally calculated my like hourly, and I was making crazy money. I'm like, I didn't even know that was possible. I thought if you were going to make $3,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 a month from somebody, you couldn't do it more than twice. Like, that wouldn't be possible. But at the scale that I'm at now, I could do that 20 times a month. I could have $6,000 a month in clients times 20 easily in the way that I built my business because of how you've taught me. And it's actually funny because like I also would never have thought someone would have paid me for coaching when I had barely really done anything myself when it comes to working with clients. Like, I had this belief that, well, if someone's going to pay for coaching, and a lot of people have this belief, if someone's going to pay for coaching, well, you're going to have done a lot in the past to really prove that track record to be able to coach somebody. And that's not the case.
One step ahead.
What?
So one step ahead is always the best step to be.
Exactly. All you have to be is just a little bit ahead, and people are willing to pay for that. Like, for example, like you were just talking about, I was getting clients through this this local offer, getting people on a monthly retainer. But what I realized is some people aren't willing to pay a monthly retainer. So what I did is I just pivoted to sell them a different offer for coaching. So I said to people I just pitched them what I thought that was good for them. Like, I didn't just pitch them what they would pay. I pitched them what I thought was good for them. And if someone was too early in the business, in their real estate business or something like that, one guy, for example, I just told him, I said, hey, honestly, I think it'd be better if I just helped you do all this stuff. You film, I'll edit, but like, I'm not going to film for you. It's a little bit less hands-on, but I think this would be better for you. We met in person one time at Starbucks, and he gave me $5,800 cash, $6,000 cash to work together. And I never coached anybody in the past, like nobody. Yeah. But it just shows you what's possible with coaching. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like when you separate your time from your money and you start charging for outcomes instead of for your time. You know?
Exactly.
Like, you could justify and say, like, I just started working with a lawyer who's coaching other lawyers. Mm-hmm. And it's really easy for him to be like, oh yeah, I have billable hours. Like, that's how I charge. And he's like, dude, I can charge like $250 an hour coaching. And I was like, dude, I technically charge like $3,000 an hour coaching. You know what I mean? So it's like, as soon as you separate your time from your income, and instead now you're operating off of, well, I charge for outcomes, I don't charge for my time, right? And so if you're getting paid $3,000 an hour, so be it, right? The information is what's valuable and how you deliver it, not necessarily the amount of time you spend per client, right? So I love that shift. What any other mindset or belief shifts that you've had from just like not really knowing anything about the online space 6 months ago to now, just how you think?
Yeah, just like the confidence that I have now with the fact that, and you've talked about this before, like with the fact that I can literally, if I want it anytime, like I'm so confident that if I wanted to next week, I could close a $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month client, like no problem. I'm so confident in that. And that's like such an incredible feeling just for the fact that it's like, if I want to, I can just like easily, I know, get a client next week because I know what I'm good at so far and I know what I'm able to do. So I'm like, I went from having no idea what an agency was, no idea what coaching really was, no idea even how to make any money online. Like I couldn't even fathom or understand how to make $500 online compared to now knowing that if I wanted to next week, I can put down and get a client that pays me $5,000 a month for really me putting in not many hours, but for them getting an incredible outcome.
Yeah, there's a certain level of like confidence you get knowing that, hey, I now have this skill set that nobody could take away from me.
Yeah.
Literally no one, that's something nobody can take away. I have this skill set required to go get people to pay me thousands and thousands of dollars for my expertise. Like that is something that nobody, I mean, unless you like have some brain damage or something happen, like nobody can take those skills away from you. And honestly, I've thought about this before is the idea that like, it's really safer for me to do what I'm doing right now than for me to get a job. Because I know at any point I can go get someone to pay me $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month rather than like relying on one person to pay me $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month working a job, you know. Totally. And so having that confidence changes everything. Yeah. For sure. Okay. Where are you at now in the business? And you don't have to paint like a super vivid picture, but like what's the overarching goal now? What are you focusing on? I know you're doing some done for you stuff right now. Ultimately, the goal for you is like long-term, you're thinking about coaching and just selling expertise, a little bit less of the done for you, but tell me like where you're at now and what's kind of the vision and stuff you're building.
Yeah. So right now my current, like I'm really focusing on building monthly recurring revenue. Like that's my overall goal, just to have like a lean, sustainable business with like very little to no churn and working with people that I really enjoy working with. So right now I'm at about $12,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Cool. And that's after like implementing for, I guess, a month and a half, like maybe 6 weeks, which is incredible.
So you've added 12,000 in recurring revenue in 6 weeks. I love it.
Yeah. So sick. And from zero and then not knowing anything. And then now my next goal is in the next 16 weeks, like over the next 4 months, I want to take that 12,000 to 40,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And that's going to really come from doing retainer stuff that I'm doing right now, a lot of done for you stuff, but changing the model a little bit, also keeping the team very lean, just having like hiring a videographer to do stuff here, but really just like paying for the work that they're doing. And that'll allow me to really focus on ideation and focusing on working with clients and then growing as well. But I just feel like keeping the business super lean is really important. I don't want a bunch of headaches. I don't really need to scale this to $1 million a month and be freaking out about every single part of the business. I can totally live with maybe 100,000, 200,000 a month, totally fine. And that's where I want to bring this business eventually. Yeah. And I definitely want to get into coaching later and really focus on that. But right now, just building the agency is super fun for me because I get to work with people I really enjoy working with and getting them really good results. And I always hear from them how awesome things are. And that makes me feel really good.
Dude, it's so crazy. Like if Hunter 6 months ago could watch what you just talked about, he'd be like, bro, what are you talking about? Like you're talking about a path in the next few months to go from 12 to 40,000 a month. Like where did you get this idea, bro? Like I think Hunter 6 months ago would just be like, holy crap, what is my man doing?
Bro, I would be like watching this, I would be like that. I would believe it just because when I got on my first call with you, I believed it. Like I saw so many people having success. It's a proven system, what you're doing, clearly. It's worked for so many people. And I always say, and you said this to me at the beginning, like if what you teach doesn't work, it's not because of the information, it's because of the person implementing it. And that's so true. There's so many things within our like human nature that stop us from having success, like being scared to, put in risk, right? Being scared of risk. But as an entrepreneur, you have to embrace risk, right? And so I would have known, like if watching this, I would have believed it, but I would have been like, that's just so crazy and incredible that that's even possible. Yeah. And it's possible for so many people, which is the best part.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, like, obviously, like, there's characteristics about you that made you, want to put the work in to begin with, and like be in the mind space of like, I'm open to learning and all that stuff. But like, it really is. I mean, 6 months ago, you didn't know what an agency was, and now you're running one. Which is crazy.
A successful one too.
Yeah, it's awesome. Anyways, dude, what would your advice be? Someone watching this, they're probably a coach, right? But what would your advice be to someone who's where you were at 3, 4, 5 months ago? What would you tell them? Like, hey, here's the next step. Here's the mindset shift you need. Here's what you got to do.
Yeah, so I would say the most important thing, and one of the most important things, is you have to be coachable, right? Like if whoever your coach is, like if it's going to be Grayson or if it's going to be somebody else, you have to be coachable. Like what's the point of paying a coach and just like listening to them but not implementing anything they say? That's probably one of the things I knew at the beginning. It's super simple to know, okay, be coachable, let's actually do that. But it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to actually do it, right? Like at the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, like everything you say. But of course, you have to be willing to spend money on ads. You have to be willing to do things that you might not be completely comfortable with at the beginning, but it's all worth it, right? Because you just have to weigh your potential for win from everything else. You have to be like, is $40,000 a month, if that's your goal, is that like how important is it? Yeah, exactly. Like it's just so important to really think about that. And you have to be willing to put in the risk or be okay with risk. So definitely listen to your coach, whoever it is. Super key if you're going to hire a coach, which I think is the best thing because it really puts you ahead. And then
step one is like, hey, get somebody who's doing what you want to do to coach you how to do it. Mm-hmm. Do you think, obviously, I don't think there's necessarily anything special about me as a coach. I'm just more asking this question like coaching in general. What do you think is like maybe the number one thing that if someone's trying to pick a coach, right, trying to decide why'd you pick me, and then why do you think it worked?
Yeah, so you have to relate really well, I think, with your coach. Like you have to pick somebody that like you can relate with. So for example, I chose working with Grayson because we're both similar in age, but that doesn't matter. We're similar in age, but we also have extremely similar values and morals, right? Like Grayson's married young. Like if my girlfriend's watching this, maybe not, but like very soon we're going to be married. And that's really important to me, right? Yeah. And so those kinds of things are extremely important. He's about to have a baby. That's so cool. And so like really attaching yourself to the person you're going to work with and think like how do you guys think? Do you guys think alike? And because me and Grayson think alike, then I can really feel like I can listen to him because he's going to point me in the right direction. If you're working, like if you only want to scale your business to maybe $30,000, $40,000 a month, $20,000 a month, and you'd be super happy, then probably don't work with a coach that's trying to scale their business to $100,000 a month. It just doesn't really make sense. Whereas Grayson is really aligned with the type of business that I want to build, he's building for himself. And so if that's the same for you, then you should pick a coach like Grayson, whereas it could be different for other people, but that's like super, super important.
Sweet. So the first thing is pick a coach, be coachable. Anything else you tell somebody who's like starting off their coaching business in the middle of like building one and like, what do I do now? How do I grow it? Like what's your last piece of like, here's the number one thing that contributed to this? Yeah,
totally. Anytime you're thinking to yourself and you're asking yourself a question, always think first, is it a limiting belief? Like, am I thinking of some kind of limiting belief? Like, for example, you might think one of the biggest ones in this business is like, can I charge that much? Am I charging too much, right? Okay, you have to think to yourself first, is that a limiting belief? Think to yourself, is somebody else charging that? And if they are, you totally can. Also think to yourself, a lot of people think, am I good enough to be able to coach? Am I multiple steps ahead or one step ahead, right? That's what you have to think to yourself instead.
Yeah.
So don't be so hard on yourself, and don't set yourself and put limiting beliefs on yourself, because those limiting beliefs, you just need to throw out the window because they really don't matter. And that's what's going to hold you back from hitting whatever goals you have.
Yeah. One of the easiest questions that I like to ask people, and like I would even ask you this, I don't know if I ever have asked you this, but like on one-on-one calls, to break limiting beliefs, especially about charging that much, is just simply, hey, if I handed you $3,000 or whatever you were thinking about charging that you're scared to charge, if I hand it to you right now over the phone and you did everything in your power necessary to try and get me the result that you were promising me, could you do it? Yes or no? It's a very simple question. 99% of the time they go, well, yeah, I could do it, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't care then. All I care is that you can get them the result. I don't care about your confidence level. This is what you're going to charge because this is the result you're going to achieve for them. So it's
Exactly.
a great
Exactly. I always think too, like, what's the result or outcome that I'm going to get from my client? And all of a sudden I think about it, I'm like, man, if my client closes one deal this month, they're going to make $10,000. Well, I'm charging them $5,000 a month, and they're probably going to close 15 deals this month. Right? So like, you just have to think about it, how it works. Even though $5,000 or $10,000 might seem a lot to you, it might not actually be a lot to your client.
It's all relative.
It's all relative.
Cool. Well, anyways, Hunter, dude, thanks for jumping on, bro. It was amazing to have you. And I'm excited to see what you do, bro. It's going to be fun to watch your journey.
Dude, I'm super excited. Hopefully we do another one of these when I'm at 40,000.
Yes, sir.
Super excited. Thanks, bro.